Hey, men and women, do you shave? Well, then you need Harry's. Do us a favor, go to Harry's and get their starter set called the Truman. For just $15, you can get a razor handle, moisturizing shave cream, and 3 of Harry's 5-blade German-engineered razors. Plus, you can get a special offer for listening to this show. Harry's is going to give you $5 off your first purchase with the promo code FOOTBALLERS. So go to Harry's, that's HARRYS, and enter the promo code FOOTBALLERS at checkout to get $5 off, and you help support the show. So stop compromising. Give Harry's a try today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome back to the show. We're back.
Oh my.
I'm bringing the energy today.
Oh my.
2 cups of coffee type of morning.
Oh my.
Yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike, the Fantasy Hitman, Wright, in the building.
Good morning, America.
It's a happy Friday to all of you.
Did you guys watch every snap of the fourth preseason game?
Preseason week 4.
Yeah, that's my kids. My kids were just happy football was on. They put it on. They watched the games. They reviewed them for me, and I'm bringing you my 7-year-old's advice today.
The Broncos are colorful.
Right. He loves the Broncos. I am a Cardinals fan, and it makes me upset but it's all logo based, and that's how you are as a kid. I mean, I'm pretty sure like 80% of kids love the Bengals.
Yeah,
bright orange. It's a
it's a
tiger.
My 2-year-old loves him.
Yeah, and people love the Denver Horsies.
Yeah, the Denver Horsies. All right, well, we've got a good show. We've got a good vibes, bad vibes show for you today. We're going to kind of be just kind of giving a lay of the land, how we feel about players. You have things like depth charts that are settling now at the end of the preseason. Some of you have drafted. Many of you are drafting this weekend, including ourselves. League of Record on Labor Day, where we have a big draft. I have a draft at 4 p.m. today as well, and I'm looking forward to it.
Sorry, I was flashing back to the draft.
Oh yeah, with the
draft. There it is.
Hey, draft. There's nothing better. There's
really nothing better.
And this is the time of season where all of our close friends are texting us with every one of their picks as well. What do I do in this situation? But should be a lot of fun. Have a good quick question for us today, and let's just jump into that right now. So the quick question of the day is this: can you explain the stat corrections and when they happen? And an add-on to that question is, have you ever had stat corrections change the outcome of a matchup in any of your leagues? Any horror stories from this? So explain stat corrections, what they are, when they take place, and that type of thing.
Mike, you can explain the stat corrections, and then I'll give a story from this past season.
Well, sure. So every service kind of keeps track of their own things, and as they're getting the information from their stat company.
Yeah.
And then once everything is done, because they're trying to get everything to you immediately, so they're live tracking. After that, they will go back, and every once in a while they'll figure out, oh well, so and so got charged a fumble when they really shouldn't have, or this guy, he actually got 9 yards instead of 10.
Sometimes it's things like the pass was actually behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so it's a run.
not a.
Yeah, that's when it's real bad, because then a quarterback loses an entire touchdown, and these things usually happen. What sucks is they happen like Thursday, more towards the end of the week.
The audit happens Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, and usually I think it's Thursday morning when it rolls out to the audit happens Wednesday or Thursday, but I think it is usually Thursday morning where for instance, ESPN, they'll be adjusted. Last season.
Well, let me say this last point. There's normally about 10 or 11, maximum of about 20 normally, minimum of about 5 or 6 stat corrections every week, and a lot of the times they're related to the defense.
I was just
a
gonna
sack
say that.
or a fumble or something that is
Someone's credited a tackle when they shouldn't have
Right.
been.
Yeah, every week when there's a super close game, you're just hoping. You're just hoping for that stat correction. And last season, I just told this story on our Footcast over at jointhefoot.com. But what happened last year? I got off to this awful week 1 start. Greg Olsen stunk. Allen Robinson stunk. Lamar Miller stunk. Sammy Watkins put up a 0. And my team just lost to what was supposed to be the worst team out there by about I think it was 2 points. And then, lo and behold, a stat correction actually made us tie, and then I had the tiebreaker on my bench. So I won after I had lost, after I had tied.
I'm trying to recall. I know there was a situation involving you and a playoff matchup. I think this was back in 2011 or 2012 where you went to sleep in winter and you thought you were moving on to the playoffs. And then you woke up
A
and
loser.
you were out of the playoffs.
That's no good. And last year in week 16, I forget exactly what it was, but we have several people saying there was like a slide at the end of the game or someone took a large sack. What was that play
I
in
don't
week
remember that at
16
all.
where people were like they had won. They had been guaranteed their championship and something at the end of the game.
Man.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, and I would add this to the question, to the answer as well. If sometimes you get a league where you see something on the field that doesn't seem to be reflected properly, just trust, in my opinion, what you got to do in that situation is trust the system to give the appropriate points by the audit time, as opposed to emailing your commissioner and telling him to change the points for you. Because more often than not, that is just opening up a can of worms in your league from a debate standpoint, and they're going to get those things right.
When I'm watching and I see a player on an opposing roster fumble and then they lose the fumble and they only get the -1 instead of the full -2, I'm furious.
Yeah.
Because I want that updated
But it always
immediately.
fixes the next morning. Yeah. All right, so before we get into the news and notes, I want to remind everybody about our Twitter. You can find us at the FF Ballers. We're always tweeting new articles, stuff from the show, exclusive giveaways, things like that. In fact, the giveaway for the signed David Johnson jersey just ended a couple of days ago, and I emailed the winner.
Congratulations.
And they were quite excited.
Yes,
Wait.
I was.
No, he actually, it was nice because the guy who won, he had David Johnson win him his league last year, and now he receives a signed David Johnson jersey
Fantastic.
to commemorate it. So that's pretty cool. You can find us on YouTube as well if you want to watch the show. And, Mike's waving into the camera. You can find us on Facebook, the Fantasy Sports Network. We're everywhere. We're on the web, thefantasyfootballers.com. You can submit questions on there. Check out the articles. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter where we're sending out really neat, interesting stats that have taken place in the previous week. New articles released by our staff of writers, really good writers. We've got DFS articles coming out this year for those of you that play on FanDuel and stuff like that. And it's going to be a lot of fun this year. We're trying to always give you as much good information as we can. Mike is smirking for some reason.
I just read the first line of the news.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into that.
News and notes from around the league.
When we're in need of astute writing, complex linguistics, we turn to Jason because
The champ.
Yeah, we turn to the college graduate here. The
Hey.
I'm a wordsmith.
Okay, you're both college graduates. I'm the only one that's not.
Did you graduated?
Yeah.
Okay. That wasn't meant to be a slight. That was I thought you would.
Genuine
I
curiosity.
thought you got close. And then,
Well, I did. I
Genuine
went
surprise.
for 3.5 years to U of A, and then I dropped out.
oh,
but then
that,
a
yes.
decade later,
and then you went back. Yes, yeah. You Larry Fitzgerald it.
Yes, I did.
All right, so Jason has written in the first bit of news here. Do you want to read that verbatim for me?
Sure, I will read it. In this bit of news, Jared Goff sucks and will be the third-string quarterback now because he sucks. That is
Cause and effect.
Yeah, that was just a quote from Jeff Fisher.
Oh, no, it was.
No,
it was not.
It was not.
Rough preseason go for Jared Goff.
You know what's funny is
I hate to go back, but I don't hate this at all. I've never liked Jared Goff. The person, fine. The player, no. I watched him, Pac-12 fan, Sun Devil fan, got to see him at California. Never felt like Jared Goff was going to translate, and maybe he'll prove me wrong. He's got a long time to do it, but so far not so good.
Yeah, last night I saw breaking news come across my phone about Jared Goff has been named the Week 1, and that was all it said. Like it,
Week 1.
Well,
Backup to the backup.
Yeah, ... Essentially, that was all I could see on the first news blurb. What it ended up saying is the Week 1 like third stringer. But I thought for a second that they had named him the starter, and I was so excited as a Cardinals fan to just think, wow, they're going 2-14. But hey, there you go. There is there is a check mark in the corner of Jeff Fisher. Good job, Jeff.
Yeah, he made
not
the right
not
decision.
starting Jared Goff.
Absolutely.
Do you think he's worried at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They traded the world to get Jared Goff.
They did.
Earth.
Colin Kaepernick completed 11 of 18 passes for 103 yards in Thursday's game, including a touchdown drive that was pretty impressive. He added 4 rushes for 38 additional yards, and I think did a very good job to secure himself a backup role on that team.
That's the
which
question.
means that he could end up starting sometime during the year.
Possibly. I mean, that contract is very large for if you're saying this is our backup quarterback. His arm, the dead arm, so to speak, it looked far more alive in the snaps I was watching of Kaepernick. So
it is a tough day right now for news, by the way, because all of the releases, all of the cuts are taking place throughout the day. So by the time you hear this, there may be 1 or 2 bits of news, guys on the bubble that have already been cut. For example, right now, Justin Hunter and Bishop Sankey were both waived by the Titans. That just happened while we were talking.
Bishop Sankey, man.
Wow. How the fake mighty have fallen.
First running back selected of that draft.
We have the Bears rookie running back Jordan Howard. He erupted for 107 yards and a touchdown on 16 carries. 2 for 2 catches for 33 yards. Had a very good preseason finale. Obviously, they did not play. They didn't play Langford. They didn't play Kadeem Carey.
And they didn't play against tough competition, so you have to take that with plenty of salt.
Always a good thing to see when you draft a running back and he performs under those circumstances, fixes his kind of preseason vibes.
Does that worry you at all from a Jeremy Langford standpoint?
No, and I think it will worry some people in your league, so maybe this will help you draft Jeremy Langford this weekend. Kevin White caught 4 for 4 targets for 57 yards, showed a couple flashes of competence.
There he is. That's cute.
Tyler Gaffney left the preseason finale with an ankle injury.
I think this is important just because the ankle injury is mostly minor, but he is definitely one of those guys that's on the roster bubble. He is, like, for me today, and I don't know if that would happen or not, but I am I'm on Tyler Gaffney alert because I think if he makes the roster, I'm not really, looking for LeGarrette Blount because I think they'll end up splitting. But if he got cut because of the injury or anything, because he was already on the bubble, if he got cut, then I'm back on LeGarrette Blount.
Here's and again, I'm an ASU guy, so I have a little extra paid attention to guys like DJ Foster. DJ Foster had a very good game last night. 9 of 10 receptions from Brady for 110 yards. He is built to be a third down wide receiver type of running back. He also had 9 carries for only 22 yards. I think that there's a chance that Foster makes the team and Gaffney doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, beat writers are saying that Foster is already, even before that game, some of the beat writers were saying Foster's a lock to make the roster.
So let's go. Breshad Perriman.
Hey, look, I am so proud of you.
What?
Breshad? He played. This is the first time in his career.
2 of 4 targets for 25 yards. Aren't you? He's got to be very happy.
I am thrilled. All sarcasm aside, I'm thrilled to see him out and playing. You just never know because such a seemingly minor injury, obviously it wasn't, but what seemed to be minor at the beginning of last year kept him out the whole year. Then you come back with what seems like, it seemed like a torn ACL, and then it was minor. You just don't know, and we've never seen him actually play a snap of preseason or regular season NFL football. So this is great news. I think
another one of those things. Yesterday on the if you didn't hear the show yesterday, go back. It's a pretty fun show. We did our 10 ridiculously bold predictions for the year. One of mine was, and by the way, there's like 170 comments on the YouTube video for that of people either
making their own
or insulting a variety of ours in big ways. some people really agreeing with the one I said about Joe Flacco and the Ravens. And look, Perryman's a guy I didn't even mention yesterday, I think, in the list of weapons that he has that nobody knows fantasy-wise who's going to produce, but he still has this assortment of weapons. And, it's kind of like New England, where the ball gets spread around, or at least the projection of the ball getting spread around. Oh, is it, James White? Are we going to see Hogan? Are we going to see Edelman? Are we going to see
Martellus
Bennett? Are we
yeah.
going to see all these different options?
There's
Mitchell, Malcolm Mitchell, Gronkowski. So I think that they'll have some he'll have weapons. He'll find them. Perriman's probably not on the fantasy radar, but there you go. So we're going to now break into our good vibes and our bad vibes, and I'm excited about this. So let's go ahead and jump in.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Got to check yourself, Mike.
Always.
Every day.
Always.
You don't want to wreck yourself. That would be a mistake.
Let's check in on the guys that we feel have made a movement.
Sure. Some of this is preseason playing.
I'm laughing at 8-year-old Jason over there.
Some of these are guys that had question marks at the beginning of the offseason or the preseason that maybe we're feeling better about, worse about. And so good vibes, bad vibes. Let's start with some bad vibes. Let's start with some bad vibes here. That's the exact sound bad vibes make. Let's go with Will Tye.
Oh, man.
So talk about this, Mike.
This one is extremely disappointing. The Giants tight
So
end.
bad vibes about Will Tye, tight end for the Giants.
The New York Giants have we know that there is a tight end battle that's been going on. Larry Donnell and Will Tye. We've seen them both flash. Will Tye most recently. They picked him up last year, and he was performing not only for the team. I mean, once he really established himself and was playing full-time, he was a back-end tight end one. I mean, he was putting up good fantasy numbers, and it's a guy that I've been hoping I could target late in my drafts. I've been projecting him to be the starter, but he played in the fourth quarter last night of the fourth preseason game.
You don't do that if you're the starter.
No, you certainly don't.
So bad vibes for Will Tye. You guys both told me on a show about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago that you'd be totally fine taking Will Tye at the end of a draft and playing him, and I told you I thought that was crazy.
If Will Tye was the starter, I absolutely would be. At that point, it looked like he was going to be the starter. I mean, he was the first guy out in the preseason. He played the first snaps.
He was getting the targets.
And I definitely think whoever the starter is there is going to be capable of scoring as many fantasy points as other middling tight ends around the league because they target the tight end in the red zone. So that's why this is really sad with Will Tye. He's playing in the fourth quarter of the fourth preseason game. That's like Austin Seferian-Jenkins playing 56 snaps.
Was that the punishment that ASJ got for yelling at Cutter in the game?
Oh, Cutter said, "No way." Wink. He said, "No, that's not I just needed to see him
I believe
more."
Cutter
wink,
also.
wink.
I know. I believe. Did he say wink? That
Yeah,
would be
he's-
great if Cutter actually said, "Yes, we love ASJ around here." Wink.
He doesn't even wink. He just says it.
Yeah, he just says it. Yeah, you don't play 59 snaps or whatever ASJ does if you're in the solidified starting tight end role.
Now wait a minute.
Maybe
does
you
that-
show
does
him
that-
off to trade him.
Does that mean that we should be worried about, maybe Tom Brady's not gonna be the starter? He played.
Slightly different circumstances.
That was just so crazy to me. I don't care.
I think it's super smart.
You do?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you could not convince me that it is a wise decision.
Okay, super smart is not right. I understand it. He's had almost no reps in the preseason. He's going to miss the 4 games. They wanted to get him some live reps. He was clearly on the same page. Now, if he gets hurt, Belichick's question for the rest of his career. But you got to do some things like that.
It wasn't the starting line, though.
That's true.
I'm not putting out the golden boy
Yeah.
without some serious beef in the front.
All right, let's jump into another good vibes. Let's go good vibes here. Good vibrations for Rashad Jennings. I'm going to give Rashad Jennings some good vibrations here.
Sticking with the Giants.
Yeah, we're sticking with the Giants here. Look, the four-headed rotation seems to be gone. Paul Perkins is a rookie. You have Shane Vereen, who will be involved, obviously, and I think effective. But Rashad Jennings has this starting job on lockdown, making him a great draft day value. I feel really good about, like, we had the draft the other day, our listener league draft, 14-team league. I felt really good grabbing Rashad Jennings. You cursed my name when I did it.
Yes.
And just throwing him in there as a running back, too. I feel good about that. You know, Andre Williams played a ton last night.
But you know who played before Andre Williams?
Orleans
Darkwa. Andre Williams.
I'm like refreshing the page, waiting to see Andre Williams has been
I'm
released.
putting this one out there that I think he is not long for the roster.
So, do you guys feel good about Rashad Jennings with me?
I feel fantastic.
I do. I unfortunately, I feel like the whole world does. Because he's rising too high up ADP. He's in the 6th. I think he's still a good value in the 6th.
Big jumps. Yeah. So, all right, before we get into the rest of the good vibes, bad vibes, we need to pause for just a second and thank the sponsors of this show. The sponsors of the podcast help keep the lights on. They help keep the show going, help us produce something 5 days a week. So we want to thank Casper. A few months ago, my wife and I, we were looking for a new mattress. We didn't know which mattress we wanted to buy. Independently, we went out and we researched, and we found out that Casper was just so well reviewed. So we did it. We jumped in. We bought a Casper. And I'm telling you right now, it is a great mattress. Just straight up, it is a great mattress. And sometimes you question, okay, a mattress isn't super expensive, so is it a good mattress? It's a great mattress. We love it. My wife, she had been complaining about our old mattress forever. She loves the Casper that we got. And these are, they had an in-house team of engineers spend thousands of hours developing the Casper before it went out for sale. And like I said, mattresses, they can cost over like $1,500, but Casper mattresses, they cost $500 for a twin-size mattress. $600 for a twin XL, $750 for a full, $850 for a queen, and we got a king, $950.
Great deal.
Yeah,
comes in the mail.
King
Don't
was
have
like
to go shopping with
$2,800 for my king.
You're the king you have?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
and it hurts my back.
We're really, really happy with it, and what's nice is it's completely risk-free. They deliver it for free returns if you don't like it. It's an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price, and it combines springy latex, supportive memory foam. It's an award winner. It was named one of the best inventions of 2015 by Time Magazine, and you get free shipping and returns to the U.S. and Canada. So try Casper for 100 nights, risk-free in your own home. If you don't love it, they'll pick it up, and they'll refund you the money. So there's no risk there. It's a made-in-America mattress, and we really like it. So check out Casper. And we got a special offer for this show, $50 towards any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/footballers and use the code footballers.
And fellas, we know here on the show, we know when you look good, you feel good. And 5-4 Club is making that easier than ever. And you know what? They're getting you value while they do it because they are shipping you fresh duds directly to your house every single month. You know what's not fun? Wasting an entire day going from store to store, not liking anything. And that's where 5-4 is hooking you up.
Clothes shopping sucks.
I bring it home, and then my wife says I did it wrong.
Every time. That's what happens to me.
And 5-4 is getting you clothes for every situation. Office, the club, a lazy weekend, whatever you want to do. 5-4 is helping you look good. When you go and you sign up, you get to pick from 4 styles. You have classic. You have casual, forward, mix. They're giving you free shipping. They're changing the clothes for every season. They're not giving you shorts in the winter. No, they're giving you pants because they know what you need to wear. Are you curious to see how easy 5-4 Club is? Go to 54club.com. Use promo code BALLERS at sign up and get two packages for your first order. That's a value of $240 for just $60. Go to 54club.com. The promo code is BALLERS. For $240 worth of clothing for just $60. The offer expires at the end of September. That's 54club.com.
You still got a little of that frog voice going, Mike. Is it clearing up?
It's getting better.
What do you have in your mug?
LaCroix sparkling seltzer water.
Yeah, you've been sucking on the lozenges.
You just put a little bleach in that. It'll clear your throat right up.
All right. I don't recommend drinking bleach. Do you drink bleach a lot?
Just in small
when you
small
need to
sizes.
clean it out.
Just when I need to clean it out.
I feel like
really
a
clean
show
that
disclaimer needs to pop up right now.
Yeah,
all right,
do
bad
not drink
vibes,
bleach.
guys. Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. I'm gonna throw out there DeVante Parker as a bad vibe to me. He's been very
much hyped.
I still think there is a chance here that the bad vibes actually drop him to be a decent value if you can get him in the 9th round of your drafts. He was rocketing up. I think a while ago he was like a 5th round pick. People, it was like Dante Moncrief or DeVante Parker.
Sure.
And what we saw through this preseason was he's not even the starter in a 2-wide set. Kenny Stills is playing ahead of him. He's playing better. And then there was finally, after all the bad vibes through this preseason to me for DeVante Parker, and honestly, he looks a little out of sync with Tannehill still. There were things coming out like that apparently he wasn't eating breakfast, right? I mean, he's a kid. like he's just not
Kids don't
doing
eat
the
breakfast.
I'm just saying, like, he's not taking care of things, taking care of his body
Well,
the way that
he's
NFL
getting himself
athletes
banged
do.
up again. He's got a hammy injury again.
That's what I was going to say is there was finally the opportunity. Kenny Stills in practice this last week got a little injured. I think it was his back. And then it's like, oh, good, DeVante Parker can do it. Oh, he tweaked his hammy. And that scares me because it's the same hammy that he had tweaked. So whenever you see a reoccurrence, it's like, oh, great. Is this going to come up in week 4?
Adam Gase came out and said, look, he experienced these same problems with Demaryius Thomas early in his career where he wasn't taking care of himself physically enough. The consistency, both physically, mentally, on the field, it wasn't there. I don't know if we're going – look, he's got tools. In the end of last season, people forget, he was very good.
Yes.
And he made big plays. Like he can go up, he can get the ball, he can make, deep routes, long routes, making big plays. It might be enough to give him fantasy value this season, but the vibes aren't there for him to be a step-up wide receiver 2 type of guy.
When Rashad Matthews went down last year and DeVante Parker took over that role, he was a wide receiver 2. He was,
There,
I think
yeah.
he was 18th. So that's why coming into the year, it's like, oh, man, he's got room to go up. But now it's like, okay, Rashad Matthews is gone and Kenny Stills takes the spot.
I still think, even with the vibes, there's potential there for Parker.
I think
But I
second
agree
half
with
of the
you.
year, he can grow into that role.
And this segment is about trending. How are they trending? He's trending down. Mike, why don't you, you're in a good
Okay.
mood. Give me a good vibe.
I'm in a great mood right now, and because my mood is so good, I'm gonna power through this right here. I'm gonna power through these words that are coming out of my mouth.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
There are good vibes on my man. My man. I've supported him his entire career.
Sure. Yeah.
Devonta Freeman,
Ah.
running back from the Falcons.
That's right.
My top choice every single time.
Sure. You got the jersey on layaway,
Look,
don't you?
Here's the deal. Clearly, I've not been a big supporter of him through last year. There was an infamous moment of the show. But there's been question marks coming into this offseason. Is Tevin Coleman going to be more involved? Which, yeah, we've kind of seen that. We've seen Coleman getting more snaps. But you know who looks fantastic? Devonta Freeman. He looks excellent. And I'm not talking just catching the ball where we all knew that he would be a part of it. He looks strong. He looks quick. He looks like a guy that, he finished.
Wants to keep the job.
He finished as the overall running back 1. And this is kind of, I can't remember a scenario where a guy finishes as the dominant running back 1, and there are so many question marks that he drops into the middle of the second round the following year for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, in certain drafts, I've seen him go at the 2-3 turn, so you could get him as like the first pick in the 3rd round. And what's crazy is if you look back at the number 1 running back over the last, I think it goes back to like 2003 or something, they're almost always in the top 10 the following year. And so that bodes well for him. He had 73 receptions last year in 15 games. He missed a game, and he still had 73 receptions. So it's one of those things where even if Tevin Coleman gets involved, Devonta Freeman's not going to lose his value, and it shows this preseason that he's the guy for that scheme. He fits the scheme so well in what they want to do.
And
there.
if Matt Ryan continues to play the way that, talk about bad vibes, Matt Ryan has looked atrocious. If he continues to play that way, he's gonna have to check it down frequently throughout the game just so they can move the offense.
All right, bad vibes. I'm going to bring him up. I hate to do it simply because I have stock in him because I end up with him in the middle to late rounds. Bad vibes for Matt Jones right now.
Yeah.
Preseason injury, when you're not solidified, not always a good thing. We've seen very good things out of Robert Kelly, including 2 days ago. He's an undrafted free agent. We already know that Keith Marshall's not there. So it's not like we're questioning Matt Jones is he's going to get snaps.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between getting snaps and being a rock-solid volume guy who doesn't necessarily have top-end talent. And that's a debatable thing, I think, with Matt Jones as well. I've debated that with some Washington fans who look. I think Matt Jones is pretty good, but right now Robert Kelly's playing well. Matt Jones is injured; he's on the shelf, and so much like Langford, where there's a hesitancy to him, it's there right now for Matt Jones. The vibes aren't going in the right direction. It would have been nice to see him stay healthy, have a couple of good games, and the worry is that Matt Jones comes out. I think he'll get 60% of the carries to start, but then he fumbles or he struggles, and Robert Kelly steps in.
But that's the thing is I would expect him around that 60% snap mark as well. But before the injury, or even after the injury, I thought, okay, Jones will still be all right for volume. But then he had someone behind him actually step up and perform, so that number of 65 drops, and that's a big deal for a guy that's you have Chris Thompson there, a great pass catcher. So I'm fading Matt Jones.
Yeah, and I think a little bit rising on Robert Kelly because he's healthy. I mean, week 1, there's no guarantee right now that Matt Jones plays, and if he doesn't, Rob Kelly is the starter. I mean, he just flat out. There's no one else there that's going to start ahead of him.
All right, so we're back to some
good vibes.
Some good vibes. Look, we've waited long enough to talk about him.
The best vibes of the preseason.
Derrick Henry.
Yep.
Looks like a man, a manly man.
Now you're a man.
He looks good.
But Andy,
yes.
There's not really a lot of history of those really tall big backs doing well.
Yeah, there's not?
I don't think so. I don't really know.
You seem kind of insecure.
Yeah, well, he's played really good.
Yeah, 7 for 62 and a touchdown. He had a couple of, I would call them Eddie Lacy-like back-to-back 25-yard jaunts where he just outpowered. I mean, breaking arm tackles, breaking leg tackles, stiff arms. I mean, he is playing like a big boy.
That was the knock on him, was that even though he's this athletic freak, that they didn't see in college him really breaking tackles and his numbers after contact.
Maybe they just avoided him in college.
Right?
Defenders.
Like, I don't want
I'd
him
make
to hit
that decision.
But if what happened this preseason can carry over, then that's out the window because he has absolutely shown the power. And if you go and look at his combine and his physical attributes are otherworldly. They're not good. They're freakish. They're Von Miller. He was basically, I remember after the combine looking and comparing his numbers against Von Miller, who humiliates National Football League players. I mean, Von Miller just tosses guys aside, runs faster than everybody, and they were almost exactly the same, like across every category. So, you make Von Miller a running back and you show signs in the preseason that he's as good as he's been. But now here's the question with Henry is his stock is already super high.
Yeah,
he's
the
in the
public
6th round, and he is firmly the backup. I realize maybe he'll play his way into more carries every game. Maybe they just can't stop giving him the ball. But right now, week 1, what's he going to get? 7 carries? 8? I mean, DeMarco Murray's week 1.
Yeah, I think 10. I mean, I think 10 he's earned it.
So what does that mean for DeMarco Murray?
DeMarco Murray's had good vibes too.
Yeah.
You cannot. I mean, DeMarco
Sure.
Murray has done nothing but everything you'd want him to do this preseason.
I think he just solidified a rotational role, and he did it in a big way. And he also secured himself as somebody that, boy, I mean, if DeMarco Murray goes down, the way they want to run that offense, does Derrick Henry start stepping up? I mean, he's going to be a short yardage guy. He's going to be just a force if he's the only back there.
Yeah, if DeMarco goes down, he's going to make my prediction come true.
I was
that
just going to
Ezekiel
reference
Elliott won't finish as the number 1 rookie running back. But would any of us take him, even knowing that for the upside? Would we be willing to take that upside risk with a 6th round pick or a 7th? For people that haven't drafted yet.
For a 6th round, because I'm targeting, if I'm going running back, I'm taking Rashad Jennings in the 6th round. But let's say I'm in the 7th, and Henry has fallen to me. I mean, now he's in the mix with guys like Abdullah, Duke Johnson, LeGarrette Blount, Woodhead, and Forsett. I mean, those are the running backs that you're looking at. I might be willing to jump in on Henry at that point.
Yeah, I think
Definitely good
that's fair.
vibes. Definitely good vibes for Henry.
Great vibes.
Let's stay with the good for a second. Let's talk about Eli Rodgers.
Yeah.
One of the names that has was not part of the vocabulary of fantasy owners in the beginning of the offseason or the preseason. Talk about Eli Rodgers. Some people might hear that name and say, who's Eli Rodgers?
Who? Well, you've probably heard a ton this offseason about Sammy Coates. Look,
If you subscribe to Mike's personal blog, it has almost been Sammy Coates' love letters. That's it.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they pass the ball a lot. I expect Ben Roethlisberger to throw for near 5,000 yards, and Martavis Bryant went down. So the question of the day around the Steelers offense is who's going to step up to that role? Is Marcus Wheaton going to take a step forward? Oh, Sammy Coates is clearly the most athletic of all of them. But Eli Rodgers has been the guy through this preseason who has had the best vibes, has stepped up the most. Now, it's a different role. He's a slot guy. He's going to be playing the slot role. So don't get it confused for fantasy and think, oh, he's going to be the next Martavis Bryant. Not going to happen. He's playing the slot. But he is absolutely involved in a offense where that slot receiver can be very productive. And he, I think, has stepped ahead of Sammy Coates.
He's been the the one emerging wide receiver on that team who seems to have the publicly professed trust of Ben Roethlisberger on an offense that needs it. I mean, you also don't have Ladarius Green stepping in to begin the season. I think Rodgers might surprise people. Look, his ceiling might be Andrew Hawkins. Okay, that might be what he is. He might be a guy that you kind of, you're just never really super excited to start, but you need to pay attention to him. And the vibes have been good about Eli Rodgers.
And in dynasty leagues especially, I think, we've seen over the years the Steelers get good wide receivers and they bring them up, and in a couple of years they become stars. It happens. I mean, the list is large over the last decade of that role. So if you're in a dynasty league, I know in ours, it was about a month ago, or within this month, I was able to pick him up off of waivers on a 25-man roster. So yeah, Andy's grimacing over there. Go look for him.
Yeah, man, I gotta transfer into my intensity levels with these leagues right now. I'm so focused on doing a good job for the listeners of the show. I'm not distracting myself with
doing a good job for your own personal leagues.
No,
Yep.
I'm just mad because Mike has sniped Robert Kelly in 2 of our leagues, and you've sniped Eli Rodgers, and I'm just playing bad. Look, we got to talk about some bad vibes, which mean good vibes for somebody else.
No.
Look, come on. Got to give it up. Good vibes for Arian Foster because the vibes are very bad for Jay Ajayi. Do you know what doesn't happen for great starting running backs very often?
Playing in the 4th preseason game?
Yeah, they don't normally start the 4th preseason game. And when they do, they don't normally fumble.
That's no good.
Jay Ajayi had a very poor game. Mike wrote a very good note here. Oh, no, wait. We just wrote that. It says bad. Jay Ajayi's been bad. 18 for 49 in the preseason. Had a fumble last night. You know who didn't play? Arian Foster didn't play last night.
Yeah.
Mike, I think you should talk about this one.
Well, look, I've been the one holding out for Jay Ajayi look, I want Foster to be good. I desperately want him to stay healthy because watching him play football it's fun. It is fun to watch Arian Foster make people look stupid and look
best
foolish.
Touchdown celebration.
Oh, the namaste bow?
Yeah, it's pretty
that's
good.
a classic. But I just to buy into Arian Foster, a guy who is just riddled with injuries frequently, ruptures his Achilles, to come back that quickly, I couldn't buy in. But clearly the Miami Dolphins are buying in because they have to at this point with Jay Ajayi performing to the level that he is. Jay Ajayi will be involved in the offense. I'm not saying it's Arian Foster ride or die time for Miami. Ajayi's going to get snaps, but Arian Foster's going to be the main guy.
He's the first running back taken in the 5th round right now. Is that taken by you, Andy?
Sure.
Right.
I've just got a really happy grin over here.
I've
said it before. Sometimes, the world of fantasy football just works out so well for this show.
But even so, it's bad for Ajayi, looking good for Foster. How good do you feel about drafting him, Andy? You're the Arian Foster guy.
I like having RB2s that I draft with upside to be RB1s. And that's the plain and simple truth about Arian Foster. I like knowing that a guy has the potential to be a top 5 player if he played well. And do you predict it? Not necessarily, but you feel really good about that when you're drafting a second running back in the 5th or 6th round. If I had Latavius Murray and Arian Foster as my starting running backs after I invested early draft capital on wide receivers that were elite, I would feel okay right now.
Yeah.
Would I insure my investment by drafting some guys late? Yeah, you're darn right I would.
Yeah, the problem is you can't insure your investment with Ajayi because if Arian Foster never came to the Dolphins, I think the way that Matt Jones has had bad vibes, I think Ajayi would have had his bad vibes anyways, and we wouldn't have necessarily believed that he could do it.
You would have started talking about Isaiah Pete, or you would have been talking about Damian Williams.
I've been thinking about picking up Pete in some of our deeper leagues because
isn't he? He's hurt now, though.
He is.
Yeah.
Well, he's questionable.
He looked good though. He looked good.
We
got time for like couple more. Two more.
We'll stick both at the running back position.
All right.
Good vibes. We got Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
I don't remember who that is. Tell me about him.
He is a decent running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers who's involved in every single play.
Right. He's the center. He's the only running back that starts as the center.
Yeah. But he's just looked – I mean, he's looked amazing
like
throughout
Lev
the
Bell.
whole preseason. You can have full confidence. I mean, the fact that he's coming off of that – we've got a lot of players here coming off of injury this year, and some of the vibes aren't so good. We kind of have bad vibes with Jordy.
Yeah.
We have bad vibes with another running back we'll talk about in a second. But the vibes with Le'Veon Bell are fantastic. And so I think when you're looking to draft him late in the second round, if he gets there late in the second, that is sweet to grab him because you got to keep in mind those first 3 weeks he misses. It's not like you're getting a 0. You're not starting him. You've got other people that you're going to be able to plug in there. But when he gets back, he's the number one. I mean, when I took my stats and statted them out for the season, and then I adjusted them for a 2-game suspension, thinking that it might be at the end of that, he scored more on my projected stats in 14 games than my number 2 running back did in 16 statted games. He's another level.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the bad vibe guy that we have to discuss is Jamaal Charles.
Yeah.
And I said it yesterday. I'm not moving him a ton, but I don't really want to draft him.
Yeah, I can
and it
feel
sucks
that.
because I wish I wanted to. I did want to weeks ago, but now he's behind schedule. Ware is very competent. West is competent.
It
might take some time.
Team. They're a playoff team. Why would you rush back that guy when you don't have to necessarily because you have capable other backs there and he's a little lower. So let's the vibes aren't good, but I'm going to put you to the test here, Andy.
Do it.
You're on the clock. Jamaal Charles is there. Le'Veon Bell is there. Who you taking?
I'm taking Le'Veon Bell.
Jamaal Charles is there. Devonta Freeman is there. Who you taking?
Taking Devonta Freeman.
Jamaal Charles is there. Eddie Lacy is there.
I'm taking Jamaal Charles.
Ooh, there's the line.
Yep. Yeah, look.
LaShawn McCoy.
I think I probably take McCoy.
Mark Ingram.
I think that's. I think I'd take Jamaal Charles.
I would take Ingram there.
Yeah, and I understand that. Look, it is a risk aversion scenario. It is the unknown. With Lev Bell, he's out 3 games and he comes back great. Charles could be subpar for 2 games and back in game 3 as a superstar. It's very possible. When nobody's ruling Jamaal Charles out, we're saying there's hesitancy. I think people, when you draft Jamaal Charles right now, you're either going to win or you're going to lose.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where he's either going to come back and be worth a value greater than what you paid, or he's going to be the opposite. I doubt he slots in right where you draft him. So
I will say this. A listener tweeted at me and said they were in a draft, and the rankings from the draft service, the ESPN, the Yahoo ranks. They said that Charles had been lowered, and I believe he was in the 30s. So that's a situation that you could possibly take advantage of. Because I
agree.
If you're in the 3rd round, and Jamaal Charles is there, I think that's well worth the risk.
Andy, you talked about liking to be able to take an RB2 with RB1 upside. If you can take Jamaal Charles as your second running back in the 3rd round, it's great.
All right, that does it for good vibes, bad vibes. I'm very excited to get into next week. We obviously have the season Week 1 is going to be here, and we're going to have our rankings for Week 1 go up on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. We're going to be delivering exclusive content as always over at jointhefoot.com, and very excited to get into the mix, the start-sit decisions.
If you're drafting this weekend and you don't have it, grab the Ultimate Draft Kit.
Yeah, and good luck this weekend. Have a very solid draft. We love hearing how good these drafts are going with the UDK and how integral that's been to the drafting plans for our listeners, and very excited about that. You guys ready for the season?
I'm super ready. And
My body is ready.
My body. People, they frequently ask, I'm going into my draft. You got any last minute advice? My advice is crush it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be draft Arian Foster.
No.
You're not that far.
No. It's crush it.
All right. So check us out on Twitter at the FF Ballers. Thanks again to 5-4 Club for sponsoring the show today.
Love 5-4.
Love 5-4 Club. Look, it's really, really easy to get signed up and to get really high quality clothing that looks good on you. They tell you that. You know it already. Just go to 54club.com, use the promo code BALLERS at sign up, and get 2 packages for your first order. That's a $60. You basically pay $60, you get $240 worth of clothing, and so that's the promo code BALLERS for $240 worth of clothing for $60, and the offer expires at the end of the month. So hurry over to 54club.com, check that out.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
for
thanks
listening, and enjoy the show.
Enjoy the show.
There's always more shows. Go to the next podcast. Go to the last podcast. Wait for the next one. And head on over to Fantasy Jocks if you're like me and you're a champ and you need some championship gear.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.